Hi everyone and welcome to Season 1, Episode 6 of Mighty Moron with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. So, Club Deportivo Moron in the second tier of Argentinian football, the Primera B Nacional. We sit comfortably in 8th position, which is fantastic, considering we were supposed to finish bottom of the table in the pre-season predictions, so that's going very well. We're on a very good run of form at the moment, and today we play Estudiantes. So, can we keep that run of form going and cement our mid-table position? Or will Estudiante come and cause us some problems? Let's check out this particular episode and find out. So, as I said, our run of form has been very, very good, and we have won 3 games in a row since the last time you and I were together for the Templey match where we lost 2-0. We've won 3 in a row, 3-1, 1-0, 3-2. And there has been some reasons for that we'll check out in the tactics page in a second or two. But you can see that in terms of what's been going on, it's Ramirez and Cherry on top that have been the stars of the show. 2 goals each in the last 3 games. Avila came in for good boy in the centre of midfield because he picked up an injury and he's been playing very well also. So you can see that this good run of form has meant that some of our players have been coming to the fore in terms of who's playing well, and it's Cherry on the top and Nicolas Ramirez. If we go to the competition page, you can see that comfortably puts us in 8th position. We've got a little bit of a gap opening up below us, and if you go right to the bottom where we were supposed to finish, we've got a huge gap now, so I'm not worried about that relegation spot at all. I think we are well and truly sorted in that front. And today could be quite important for us because we play the team directly below us, Estudiante. And so if we could beat them, that would put us 6 points clear of them and open up a bit of a gap between us and the teams below us. Of course, if we don't win today, then it closes up again, and we need to start hanging on to the teams above us as well. There's a little bit of a gap opening up into the 6th place team that we need to see if we can close a little bit, just to maintain a little bit of connection to those that will finish in the playoffs, because that's where we want to head for next season specifically, if we at all can, is into that playoff section. So that's going to look pretty good for us moving forward if we can do that. But for today, it's all about Estudiante. They sit in 9th. We sit in 8th. Let's go and check out what we've got in store for them today in the tactics page. So as has been the case for a little while now, on face value, there's not a lot of change that's happened. The formation stays the same, and the general style of play in terms of the very attacking approach has changed. But there has been quite a major change in terms of how we play this. Now, last episode, you'll remember, we talked a little bit about maybe shrinking the passing down a little bit because we were kicking it out of play and getting it intercepted too often. And so I thought long and hard about that and played a little bit about with that in this particular page to see what I could come up with. In the end, though, I decided veering in that direction wouldn't be quite right for one reason. We are currently supposed to be finishing in the bottom section of the second tier of Argentina. We are not a fab blah 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 blah. Easy for me to say. We are not a fantastic footballing side. We've got some good energy about us. We've got some good passing, absolutely, but we cannot outplay some of the big boys in our division. And if we try, I think we'll come unstuck. So what I've actually done is I've gone the other way. We've gone into the very attacking mentality and have done for a while. And now we're going direct as well. In terms of the attacking width, we are standard, so it's quite narrow. We've gone very, very attacking in terms of our direct passing. A higher tempo, which absolutely will wear a few players out, but we'll have to rotate them a little bit more. Bit more disciplined in our structure and our shape, a little bit more, but no other main instructions there. In transition, we remain neither counter-pressing or regrouping. We're going to sort of allow them to play the occasion, as it were. And then we will counter-attack them quite quickly when we've got the ball. And we'll try and put it into this sort of area here. So one of these three players can get onto the ball and bring other players into the game. We'll be distributing not too long into that core central midfield area for a decent pass over the top from that midfield. If we were to drop it into the defenders, I think they'll go over the top too early, and I don't know whether they've got the quality on the ball. So we're looking to get it into midfield before moving it up top and then trying to bring the players up whilst holding the ball. We've got a bit more of an intensity in the press. We've gone much higher in the line of engagement and the defensive line, much higher, but we kept a narrow width of defence just to keep compact. And so that's the plan, and it's been working really, really well. Of course, Sod's Law suggests that today it's not going to work in the slightest, but you can see the last three games have brought some goals about us. Yes, we've conceded a couple here and there as well, but we've done very well, and it's all based around getting it up to that top guy and getting him good opportunities, and also Ramirez in that Ramdeuter role. So that's the plan. We are going more direct. We're going to play the rest of this season, I think, in this kind of style, giving it as good a go as we can. Every game, full intensity, trying to really, really attack very, very hard on the opposition and trying to press them in a little bit. And then find a way to get the knockdowns and the second balls in and around the area to have shots at goal and see if that can work for us. And so far, it's been doing pretty well. In terms of personnel, a couple of things to say. We've got a couple of slightly down players in terms of on the bench that are just coming back from issues with injury. We've got a couple that miss out. Glabby is out for the next 7 days. He's been out for the last 7 days as well, I think. He's our rotation player for this right-hand side midfield position. Position. And then we've got Basidas, who is the Angel replacement as well, who's just coming back for a knock. Both of those are just a little bit below match sharpness, so not gonna feature today, but they'll come back in fairly soon. And the other person to tell you about is this guy, Franco Polo. He's only here on a trial. He was released by his club recently, and I spotted that in the news feed. And I think if we could get him in, I think he'd be a relatively good string to our bow in central midfield. But there is no guarantees that I could even afford his wages at this point. So we brought him in on trial just to see how he fits in with the squad. And he looks pretty decent in terms of his potential ability, etc. But whether we could get a deal done for him or not, I have literally no clue. But we brought him in just to have a look at. He can't play in the big matches, but at least we get a chance to really understand what he's got about him. The rest of the squad is pretty much in the positions that they usually are. You know, there's some good play going on in terms of Brogy and Ramirez down the right-hand side, primarily, which is really, really good. And then, of course, Cherry on top has been scoring the goals. So it's all very good. So that means that for today's game against Estudiantes in the Primera B Nacional, we've got Salva back in goal. He's played more recently than Galvin, who came back in and made a couple of errors recently. So Salva in goal. Gomez and Corso in central defence, with Brogy at right back, Olivier at left back, Nizo, Cranvita, Avila in central midfield, with the Angel and Ramirez supporting Cherry on top. And the bench of Stefan, Mayola, Lilo, Cholki, Goodboy, Villalba and Ackerman back on the bench. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So I've gone with let's give these fans something to cheer for today. It didn't really get a great response particularly, but that's a little bit disappointing. Now, Estudiantes have come in quite defensively. They've got a couple of holding midfield players in a three-man midfield. So they've come in quite specifically structured to try and stop us. Can our attacking play unlock that, or are they going to soak up the pressure and counter-attack and cause us problems on the break? Something that we'll have to watch as the game progresses. But so far, 17 minutes in, literally nothing's happened. There's just been one shot and it wasn't even on target. After 25 minutes, nothing much has changed, and it's been a very, very quiet first half. Now, maybe later in the game, that will help us out, and if we can sneak a goal somewhere, then maybe this is a good first half to have had. But just in terms of providing content to watch, it's not great, is it, really? Welcome to the wonderful world of Football Manager. Sometimes it just happens that way. Nothing happened. We cancelled each other out. We were in an attacking lineup. They've got a defensive lineup. They soaked up our pressure. We got absolutely no shots on target whatsoever. The possession was a bit lower, but that's what we expect with the type of play that we've now got. The more attacking style of play, the more direct style of play won't give us a lot of the ball, but we should be doing better with it when we've got it. Team talk wise, we're going to go in and assertively say, I'm not happy with the performance. Go and do something more in this second half. Let's see if we can pull something out of the bag here and get a slightly low-key win, hopefully. But it's Estudiantes with the first real highlight, and the goalkeeper absolutely fumbles it, doesn't he? Absolutely does. You watch this free kick come in. Unfortunately, there's an offside decision because look at that goalkeeping error. Absolutely drops it right in front of him, and the striker puts it in the back of the net, but they were all offside, and that's fairly lucky, really. We were fairly undeserving of anything there, but we got a bit of luck. 70 minutes in, and nothing much has been happening for us at all. So it's time to change a few things up, isn't it? Absolutely it is. And we can see the midfield area, 6.4s all the way through. And then the attacking area is no different, 6.4s. Nobody's playing well at all. So we bring super sub in. Ackerman comes in for cherry on top. See if he can put a chance away. We've got Villalba. I can never get his name right. Please figure out a nickname for this guy. Guillermo Villalba. I just can't get his name right. It's a tongue twister for me. Anyway, he'll come in for Ramirez, who's not doing great today. And then we got one we can put in this central midfield now. Good Boy is coming back from a little bit of a knock. So we're going to put Chalky in instead for Kranvita. And we'll just see whether any of those can make a difference. And maybe we're just going to drop it back into the attack. No, we'll go slightly positive, I think, just for the last few minutes of the game. Rather than the all-out attack, let's see if we can settle the play a little bit more. And it looks like we're going to get a very dull 0-0 draw. And I don't really know what to tell you, to be honest. It was very, very dull. They really did a great job of soaking up the pressure, didn't they? We can go and have a look in the analysis page in a minute, but they soaked up an awful lot of the pressure in that holding midfield area. In terms of the match stats for today, let's go and have a look at the stats. You can see that we only had 5 shots and 1 on target. They had 15 and 4 on target. So in the end, we did quite well to come away with that 0-0 draw, really. They had more of the possession, but we expect that. But let's go further into the analysis page and see where this setup didn't quite work out for us today. So Estudiantes worked primarily down this right-hand side. You can see the heat map, huge red area, so they really attacked our left side. Along this part of the advice section, it suggested that Olivier, our left-back, made a lot of mistakes today. So there's an issue immediately down that left-hand side. We weren't able to cope with their right-handed side approach. So that's something to think about in terms of Mayola coming back into the side maybe instead of Olivier. So that's the first thing. The second thing that I've noticed in looking around the place is that we only our passing accuracy wasn't very good. We got a 68% passing connection rate, I think, which isn't fantastic, is it really? Even with the long ball direct sort of passing, I would expect it to be a little bit higher than that maybe. We approached the game through all areas of the pitch, but nothing came off for us. You can see that they primarily worked down their right-hand side, and that's where they caused us a number of problems. If we go into the team section and go into our shots, it's always the interesting one for me, is this section here. You can see that we had so few shots and they were all way outside the area other than one for cherry on top, and he didn't manage to get it anywhere near on target. And they peppered our goal, didn't they, from inside the box. So we're going to change that up. We're going to put the work into the box instruction on and see if we can just find a way to push ourselves into that penalty box before we're taking our shots, and see if we can eliminate this spread, which isn't good enough. In terms of passing, if we take those off and we go to the passing completed, it's a bit of a mess, isn't it? Always this page. Let's just look at ours. And this is, I think, 60-something% of our passing accuracy actually worked. And you can see there's a wider spread down this side of the pitch than this maybe, but yeah, it's difficult to make much out of that. These are the ones that mean more to me. Still, we're getting far too many interceptions. We're giving the ball away far too often, and it's not even when it's particularly long sometimes. If you hone in on some of these, they're not particularly like from penalty box to penalty box type length of ball. But it's still not great, is it? And there again is the out of play. Why are these putting it out of play, even sort of at that angle? We're getting our passes completely wrong. Maybe we do have to shorten them down, but I just don't think we've got the personnel to play a short passing game particularly. I was hoping for much more in terms of being able to go over the top, but hasn't quite worked out. We had one key pass, and that was into Cherry on Top to have his shot a goal. It didn't work out. Disappointing, isn't it, really? We go one last page. We'll always go and have a look at is this one here, and we will take out the Estudiantes shots and just look at our own. And again, from the distance that we were shooting, we had one welly it over the top of the bar, a couple really wide, and then we had two that were on target, sort of, but easy for the goalkeeper. Not good enough in that respect, is it? So we're going to have to work the ball into the box more, I think. We might have to reduce the passing length, even though I don't really want to. But we might just do it a little bit and see where the sweet spot might fall. So that's something for us to continue to work on. Overall, I mean, we've got a reasonable draw. So we'll calmly say, unlucky boys, it wasn't your day. And then we'll move on from there and we'll go and check out what we've got coming up in the next episode. So this is interesting. Just before we go and have a look what's coming up for the next episode, that 1 point actually has moved us up a spot because we've gone ahead of Mitre on goal difference into 7th. We've got a little bit of a gap, a 5-point gap up to San Martin, next up in 6th place. So that's going to be a bit of a gap to try and overhaul. But I think considering that there's a gap down to about 11th of 6 points, I think this is the rough area that we'll probably finish the league position in, somewhere between 7th and maybe 9th. And I think that's pretty good going. So, you know, even though we get the occasional downbeat game like we did today, actually we're still doing fantastically well overall. So let's go into the schedule page and just check out where we're heading for the next episode. Well, what we've got actually is the next 2 episodes coming up are going to basically end this season for us. We're going to come back in and play the Platense game. That'll be next episode, and the final episode of the year will be Belgrano on the very final day of the season to see how this portion of the league pans out. Now, if we squeeze into a playoff game, of course they'll come as well, but I don't think we will this season. I think we're going to be mid-table and comfortably so, and that will be what we can build on for next season. So it's probably 2 more episodes left of this season, and then we'll see what happens over the summer in building up for next. So that's where we're heading. Platense next, then Belgrano, just to finish off the season. But so far, sitting in 7th place, got to be happy with that, and I really, really am. Thank you for joining me today. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and join my United City community. The more the merrier. If you haven't clicked that like button for me on this particular episode, please do that. It really helps me get seen by lots of other people. Until next time though, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.